Ek wil net sê, vanaand is die Kaap deur Hollands. Vanaand word die Kaap aan die Maleiers. En sonder hierdie Malaierkore is daar in Kaapstad 'n gemis. En ons wil vir julle sê, liewe vriende, kom ons sing vanaand vir onsself binne in die harte van al ons vriende en al ons moontlike vriende. Baie selamat vir 'n baie suksesvolle seisoen. Mag dit goed gaan, mag die beste kore wen en ons kyk uit na 'n heerlike geleentheid. Ek gaan nou terug na die MC toe. Baie dankie vir die geleentheid wat ek gaan iets te sê.
Dames en heren, om te open vanaand aan ons meneer Morris vra om die tradisionele rosa vir ons te sing. Dank u.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abduraghmaan Morris. I am currently residing in Colorado Park. I was actually born in Clifton Street in District 6 in the year 1957. My parents are Boeta Ismail Morris, fondly known as Kameeltje. He had 2 brothers and 1 sister. He was a very popular Nederlands singer of his time. He was also a life-serving member of the Young Men's Sporting Club, of which I am a member today. My father actually passed on in the year 2010 at the age of 80. And my mother, Hajirukia Morris, she is still doing well. She was 89 this year. Also from District 6. My mother is a child of 9 siblings, 6 sisters and 3 brothers. Her family were of Indian origin, and she always used to tell us that she grew up in what was called a pisang store, because they used to trade with bananas, and her father used to go to the market and they used to sell the bananas from their store, which was part of the house. That is all the stories that I got from them as I was growing up. We were 4 children, 2 brothers, Adnan, the youngest of the siblings, and my second youngest sibling was Majri. He has just recently passed on in this year. Allah grant him a Jannah, inshallah. And then I've got a sister who is 2 years younger than me, Nariman. She stays out in Lentegee in Mitchell's Plain. We're actually a very close-knit family. We always grew up in the framework of the religion, because we just stayed just opposite the masjid in District 6 in Clifton Street, which was Abduraghmaan Morris of Imam Simon. We went for madrasa where we grew up. Thursday nights to the hajat we made, and Sunday evenings. That was all part of our life growing up. And Alhamdulillah, we are very grateful for all the knowledge and experience which we gained in that vicinity, which was in the heart of District 6. It was a very vibrant area, and I had a lot of young friends, and we used to play rugby, junior rugby for the Rangers Rugby Club, which was at the headquarters in Clifton Street. On a Sunday, we used to go to the Silver Tree rugby field. During the week, after school, we all used to meet at the madrasa in the masjid under the tutelage of Imam Abu Bakr Simon. And he was a fantastic imam and a teacher. He used to teach us the salah. Like, I'll never forget, on a Thursday afternoon, the whole of the madrasa, boys and girls, used to line up in the masjid in safs, and we used to go through the salah, and everybody would used to repeat after him. Everybody would recite out loud, like, Nawaitu usalli farda salatil asr, and everybody used to perform the salah, and that is how we were taught the correct way of doing everything. And my grandfather, he was also Abduraghmaan Morris. In fact, on that, now we've got this tradition in our family that the eldest grandchild boy is always named after his grandfather. So I was named after my grandfather, Abduraghmaan, and my eldest son, Ismail, was named after my father. And his eldest son, Abduraghmaan, is also now Abduraghmaan Morris. So we've got this legacy going on. We hope that my great-great-grandchildren will look at it and they will also uphold this tradition of ours. And now coming back to my grandfather, he was the khatib of Imam Abu Bakr, who stayed in Friede Street in District 6. They used to call him Imam Hospital, because he used to go around with the people in the hospitals, and if you pass on, he was the person who go to get the bodies out of the morgue. And he was also a very well known and well respected imam. Now, Ali's Winkel was the headquarters of the Hamidius Rugby Club. In the same street, on the corner of Roosstraat and Clifton Street, was another shop, and that was the headquarters of the Rangers. Fierce rivals at the time. Both was very good. We used to get our things ready. We get to pack our bag for the day. Go with my cousin, a couple of years older than me, and we used to take us to the Greenpoint track for the Saturday afternoon, and we used to go watch the rugby. Rugby was very popular at the time. I mean, there were great rugby players. The Silver Trees, the Montroses, the Stars, the Callies. On the back of the field, there was an area which was open, and we used to have our own match at the same time as the adults were playing. We used to have our own match going on behind the scenes. I also took part in the Traffs High rugby team, because we used to go to different schools, and then on the rugby field we would meet each other. And then when that happens, we were not friends, we were enemies. It's something that I will never forget. when the apartheid era came in. I was about 10 years old, I think. We actually didn't know what was going on, but we heard the grown-ups talking about, yeah, ons moet move. As a group areas, ons moet uit is. We, we just kept on playing our games, and it didn't actually strike us the seriousness of what was taking place. We just saw that trucks started to come to the houses in the street because we were that area was very highly populated. I mean, in one house you'd have 3 or 4 different families, each family in a room, and there's a lot of the houses had a yard and a cabin at the back, and there was another family would be living. Everybody accepted everybody. People started moving out, carrying the furniture out onto the trucks. We asked, where are they going now? They're going out. They're moving to Bonteheuwel and they're moving to Mitchell's Plain. And we didn't know where were these places until it came for our turn. And my father told us that, we're also going to have to move to a place called Primrose Park. It's in Athlone. We were, dumbfounded, but why? While this was so, the people were moving, we saw this big tractors come in. And as the house was empty, the tractors would pull up on the field and start bulldozing the houses down. And that was a bit traumatic for us, because, we grew up there and we saw all it was our friends' houses and they're moving out, and the one day you see the full house stand, the next day everything would be flat. And then we moved out to, I think it was in 1971, to Primrose Park. My uncle had a Ford Zephyr, and we drove out to the N2 Settlers Way, past the old power stations from District 6 until you exit into the old, what was known as Heinz Road. Some of the houses were still being built, and it was just the top part of Surrey Estate. And my father said to us, this is going to be our house. This is where we're going to stay. You're each going to have your own room. Because where we came from, the house had 2 rooms. There was one for my mom and daddy, and one for all the kids in one room. And I said, wow, we're going to have our own room. But now we're moving into a 3-bedroom house, separate toilet and bathroom and a big lounge, and they had nice grounds around it. We were quite impressed. We were very happy. And up until today, which is after my father passed on, my brothers, we bought the house over, and my mother's staying with him now there. We have consequently moved out because when I got married in 1981, I stayed in the house until about 1989 when I actually bought my first house here in Mitchell's Plain in Portland. And my brother also, my other brother, Majdi, he also bought a house here in Colorado. My sister, she got married and she went to live with her husband in the Lentegee, Mitchell's Plain. When I reached puberty and I started getting teenagers, because I was now in a new area called Primrose Park, and there were a lot of new families moving in. Then I became friends with the youngsters in the area. And, you're going through that time, of changes in your life. I mean, it was the early 70s, almost the 80s. And the fashion was the thing at the time. It was bell-bottoms and tight-fitting shirts, Everybody's hair was hanging on their shoulders, And I went to high school at Boeta High School in Athlone. On the Saturday evenings, they used to have what was called the house parties. Scene, I think you used to call it a scene. Our friends used to say, we're going to a scene on Saturday night. The hair at the time was a very big thing. And I unfortunately didn't have straight hair. I had very curly hair. So we had to do this thing called the swirl and use a stocking, one of your mom's stockings, and put it over your head and pull it tight. It must be about 10 minutes the one way and then again 10 minutes the other way. And you used to comb your hair out and your hair would be nice and straight and hanging right on your shoulders, The mode of the day, At 8 o'clock or so, the guys used to come, we used to meet at the shop, Mr. Parker's shop. Quite safe at the time. It would be real cool to walk from your house to your friend's house with an LP under your arm. By 12 o'clock you must be in, no matter what. You come home and you see your mother's still up waiting. Where are you coming from now? You know what the time is. Said, oh, mommy, we're safe, don't worry, don't worry. We used to have a lot of sleepovers. Come sleep by me tonight. Pillows off the couches, put it up on the floor. We used to call a kermis bed we had to be made on the floor. And then again on Sunday morning, we sleep late. Your mommy come in and say, kom, julle moet nou opstaan. And hey, mommy, ons gaan nog 'n bietjie lê, ons is moeg. And she used to bring us coffee and sisters. Sunday morning, we should talk about the good times we had the Saturday evening. Yeah, those were the good times, eh? Like I said, I attended the Spesbona High School. It's a boys-only school called a technical school. Prepare you when you want to go on a trade, like very strict, you know. We used to travel by bus from the Greenhaven bus into Athlone. We used to get off at the police station and then walk across the road. I finished matric there in 1975. Getting a apprenticeship was quite common. And I remember my father told me, you know, whatever you do, doesn't matter what trade you do, go do a trade because you will always have something to fall on. I was actually a good student in 1975. We didn't know what the CV was. If you wanted a job, you'd go to the newspaper, look at the newspaper for like when they advertise for the job, and then you've got to physically write a letter for the post of apprentice toolmaker or apprentice turner machinist. My subjects are etc. etc. I saw this advert for a apprentice toolmaker in Epping, and they were only a small ad. Anyway, I decided to apply for it. We set up a date, and I went in for an interview. That was my very first taste of work because when I got to this factory, and I went in, and it was my very first interview. What do you do? What is your hobbies? Why do you want to do this? They took me around this factory, and I saw these big machines, something I've never seen before. I saw guys standing behind a machine and putting a piece of metal in this machine and tightening it up, tool with a tool holder and machining it away. And I was taken aback. It's the first time I've seen something like this. But, I just said to myself, look, they are going to train you and they will teach you. It doesn't matter if you don't know what's going on. Anyway, about a week or 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the name of the company was Diedericks, an apprenticeship to start with them. That was 1976. In 1975, I actually finished my matric. So straight from school, I started at Diedericks Precision Engineering. I was given a journeyman to work with, and he sort of taught me, all the tricks of the trade and what you got to do. Then we used to have to go to the book you on a train to a place called Olifantsfontein up in Joburg somewhere. Pass out for your trade test. And that was another scary thing for me because for the first time I must travel alone. Luckily there was a lot of other guys all in my position. I went for my trade test. Unfortunately, I didn't pass my trade test. I failed my trade test. I was very disappointed. But coming back, I'll never forget what my one boss said to me. What did you do? Did you turn the thing back to front? I mean, we've trained you, no? But on my technical side, when they sent me to tech, I got A's in all the subjects. So they couldn't figure out what was going on, They got hold of a new type of machine that had just come out on the market, which is computerized, numerically controlled machine. And this was for me so fascinating. The boss called me in one day and said, look, we need somebody to train on this machine. So I think you're going to be the perfect person. And that was a turning point in my life, because then I actually got onto something which was I found my nick. And I stayed at Diedericks up until the day that I retired, which was about 4 years ago now, because I'm 64 now. So from 1976 till 2017, I think it was. My wife, Faiza, and her family also moved into the same area. As you can see from my working relationship, I am a very sort of settled person. Like my job, when I got my job, I stuck with it up until the end. We all actually went to madrasa at the Primrose Park School, primary school. We started seeing each other up until the day that I proposed. That was in 1981. So we got married. We went to stay at my parents' house until our firstborn, which was Ismail. We decided to look out for a place of our own. We needed a bigger place because by that time my family had grown. Ismail and Feroza. This place here in Colorado Park, I think it was in 1989 we moved in here, staying here ever since. It's a very, very nice area and we're quite happy here. Like I said, the story with the Young Men's Sporting Club is I grew up in Clifton Street in District 6. Now, the District 6 area was rife and it was vibrant with sounds of the Malay choirs, like on every corner, you know, and incidentally, a lot of the rugby clubs turned into Malay choirs. It used to be the same people who you used to grow up with and the same people that you knew. And because just around the corner from us was the Rosendales. Our house was always, because my father, my late father, Ismail Camille Morris used to call him, he was the lead, the Netherlands singer for the Young Men. In his time, he was the top singer in Cape Town. His friends, Boeta Diedericks, was the coach of the Young Men. On a Saturday night or so, a couple of his friends would used to come around to our house and they used to sit in the lounge and they start singing. And I would lay in my little room there and I would hear them singing, you know. And that is how I got bitten by the Netherlands bug. As I grew up, when I started reaching adolescence, I used to go to the competitions in the city hall. My mom would take me, watch the teams perform. And that was a very posh affair at the time. People used to dress up, you know, to the tees. And I used to sit there and I say to myself, one day I also want to do the singing culture. Taught myself to play the guitar and I used to sing. My father then used to have what they call the singtafel. With the Adolescence, the Layman Jack. And a couple of their friends, they used to get together and they go to houses. They used to call it a venue. And they used to say, "Where's the venue for now?" because they used to sing from after Isha right up until almost Fajr in the morning. They all sat around a table singing liedjes, you know. My father's friend with the woties called me, man, kom eens aan, kom sit hier by ons, kom sing 'n liedjie, wat 'n liedjie ken jy? En hy sê toe hom, Agro Salem, right, speel vir hom daar, so speel vir hom twee. It's actually A, but they used to call it twee, and I used to play. For my very first time, I sang the lead part of a lied, you know.
Sophia.